Gulfstream Park. It is February 12th, 2015. Christina Bosnakis, accompanied by Ron Nicoletti. And we do have another lovely day. The track fast, the turf course is firm. And Ron, just a lovely day.
It is really a spectacular day here, Chris. There's no humidity, and we're going to have temperature around 75 degrees to say, as you mentioned, fast main track, firm turf course. Rainbow Six starts in race number 5 with a 10-race card, and it is over almost $70,000 in the jackpot pool. We had a couple of horses alive in the last, so we'll see if we can do it again today. As you know, only a 20-cent wager, and races 5 through 10 this afternoon. And want to remind everybody, this Monday, we have a special racing card, President's Day. First race post will be at 1 p.m., so that's Monday. We're going 6 days this week. We'll be dark next week, Tuesday and Wednesday, but we will be running on Monday, President's Day.
Yeah, we sure will, and we do have a pretty stocked 10-race card here today. And Ron, you and I were talking about this, and we'll look into this as we go along, but we were just all over the place, and that just tells you the competitive nature of today's card.
Yeah, and you know, we also do our handicapping with Bob Railbird Robertson. He's different than us too, so everybody all over the place today, and that's what makes it fun. You know, if you're right, you're probably going to make some money this afternoon if you can beat the favorites in these races.
Yeah, I think so too. But we'll start off with the first race on today's card, and it is a 25,000 maiden claiming event. It is a mile on the turf course. Jockey change number 6 will be ridden by Pedro Monterrey Jr., and number 10 and 11 have been scratched. I went with the number 3 here, and Ron, I see it's a horse that you used, and that's that She's So Groovy, dropping from Maiden 35 Company last time, and that was in her return to the turf. I thought it was a pretty useful effort, Ron, at a really, really big price. From a number standpoint, I thought she fits in with this group because I didn't think there were any world beaters, but I can see why you went in a different direction with number 1 Ozone.
Yeah, I went with the 1 Ozone. We got our exacta flip-flopped here, dropping $10,000 on the maiden scale, stretching out today to this 1 mile distance. Broke from post 13 last time out, chased the pace 4 wide, weakened to finish 6. That was against $35,000 maidens. That was going 5 furlongs. I think the stretch out, the drop in competition, this from the Gary Contessa barn, and our leading rider, Javier Castellano. Lots of things to like. Got number 3, She's So Groovy, for all the reasons you mentioned. Closed it out with the 9, 1 and done.
I thought Ozone was interesting to me because the pedigree is it's a sprinter's pedigree, a song and a prayer on top, and with out of a Mount Livermore mare. And I threw in number 8, and that's a lucky litigator, getting to the turf for the first time and getting also blinkers on for Steve DeMauro. So I thought that was one that I wanted to include. On to the second race on the card, a 62.50 claiming event. It is a mile on the main track, and this kicks off the early pick 4. My top selection, and both, Ron, I think this horse is really hard to look past in here, this gelding, and that's number 7, Shining Powers. He's dropping from 12-5 Company last time, and I just think in terms of, from several aspects, I think he's tough to beat.
Yeah, and he's not going to get a sloppy track this afternoon.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at his last 2 races, dropping, as you mentioned, hoping for that fast track today, and he's going to get it after finishing 2nd and 3rd, respectively. That was against $12,500 2 lifetime claimers. That was going a mile. Both of those on sealed, sloppy tracks. He looks like the one to beat. We both used the 1. Happy to be here. It breaks from the rail today, and we actually have our, our exacta and trifecta just about the same in this second race. But you really got to go beat the 7 in there, and that is the first half of one of our first leg of one of our 2 pick 4s.
Yeah, sure is. And
that was easy for me to say.
Yeah, easy for you to say, and happy to be here. I think controlling speed in there now, so I think that's why I had this one right in second on my ticket. On to the third race on the card. It is a 45,000 maiden claiming event, a mile and a 16th on the turf course. And my top choice, I went with number 5. I think this is interesting, Ron, our selections here. You don't even have number 5 in there. Storming Jorah came back off of a long layoff for Buff Bradley to run, I thought, a pretty good race. Just got to the front, got a little leg weary just in the late stages of that last race at Tampa. And I think that I think this horse has got a pretty good shot, and might be a little bit overlooked.
Well, I used the number 2 Red Parasol. I want to go back and show you this horse, his last race at Stretch Run. He thought he ran pretty good, dropping a notch today. You'll see Red Parasol here is the number 9 this day, and really closes well. That was after a return from a 2-month of freshening. That was against $50,000 maidens. It was going a mile. It's trainer Dave Cass, and I just thought this horse ran well enough. Stretching out today to a mile and a 16th. I think he's going to move way up off this performance. He was fighting right to the wire, and thus I put the number 2 today, Red Parasol, on top of my ticket, along with the number 8, La Majestique, in second, and number 7, More Everything, in third. I was looking down on my paper. I actually had your horse marked third, and for some reason I changed my mind when I did my handicapping, so you might be the right there.
I was going to say, hopefully that was a mistake. Later on. And Red Parasol, I thought this filly had a really good shot. It's just that the fact that 0 for 12, she seems to always, she's one of those horses, she seems to be in the hunt and she doesn't get it done. So it will be interesting to see if she can reverse that, but she's got Javier Castellano aboard, and he's been on fire here. So I think that if she gets it done, it could be today. On to the 4th race on today's card. It is a 12-5 claiming event. It is 6 furlongs on the main track. And my top pick, I had number 8 in here. And here's another horse that you have. And this is, to me, this is one of the horses that I'm really looking forward to today, because from a numbers perspective, I think she fits in with the rest of these horses. She took money last time. That was 62.50, so she's going up in class a little bit. I do think, though, several things considered, I think she's got a good shot. Now, she did finish a length behind Tex Appeal. That was back in November, Ron, although I really think she's got a good shot.
Well, I did go with the number 5 Tex Appeal. This is another one I want to go with a rewind and show you this race on January 2nd. I want to show you the stretch run of number 5 Tex Appeal in here. This one has to just find a little more today. Tex Appeal is the number 8, and it just a good performance last time out. You see her there in third. Looks like she's going to come up and get the job done. I think off that performance, here she comes. She doesn't see the horse on the inside. I don't know if she didn't see her. The other one was just too fast, but a good performance, fought all the way to the wire. So number 5, Tex Appeal, as you mentioned, your horse was behind this horse in one race. This is Jane Sibeli. The barn has been on fire. Joel Rosario, I used the 1. This Dance is taken in second, and number 4, Dreamin' of Bella, who you have both of them on your ticket.
Yeah, I think it's a mistake. You left off number 8, and that's Twinkling Time in there.
Bet?
Yeah.
You got a bet.
Let's have a bet. I think you should have. We're going to take a short break, folks, while we fight it out here over the 4th race on the card. We're going to come back and have a look at the 5th race that kicks off the 20-cent Rainbow 6.
Gulfstream Park is one of Florida's top entertainment destinations, mixing restaurants, clubs, a casino, and international boutique shops with world-class racing. In a lavish, sun-drenched setting with the feel of a Mediterranean village, Gulfstream is a leading year-round entertainment and tourist destination and the home of luxury residences in 2014. The Stronach family, owners of Gulfstream Park, is committed to the sport of thoroughbred racing and the grace, spirit, and generosity of the horse.
The Rainbow 6 is back, and it's better than ever. Now with a 20-cent base wager, it will expand the market for the popular bet. And in addition to doubling the base wager, the percentage return for the winners on the day the jackpot isn't hit increases to 70%, with 30% going to the carryover pool for the next program. Gulfstream Park, you got to be here each and every day.
Welcome back to Gulfstream Park, and we're going to have a look at today's 5th race that kicks off the 20-cent Rainbow 6. And there is a carryover, just about $70,000. And there is a scratch of number 9, and there is a jockey change. Number 7, Running Cat, will be ridden by Jose Caraballo. And my top selection, I went with the number 1 in here, and that's Blackwater Charlie, dropping from $75,000. Maiden Claiming Company in that latest start had a wide berth on that day. Long price. Edgar Zayas, who is aboard, gets back aboard here today. Although in terms of the class break, I'm just willing to give this horse another shot in here. I think that maybe we'll be able to get it done here today.
That's 3 races in a row. I don't have your top pick
Isn't it,
anywhere in my selection.
I hope you
rare.
are way wrong today.
I'll tell you why I like the number 2 in here. Excellent prospect. If anybody's been following my analysis throughout the years, which seems like about 200 years now, this one is turning back to 7 furlongs on the main track. Pressed the pace early and faded. That was against this level of competition, but it was going 1 mile and a 16th on the turf. It's a son of Rock Hard 10. I love this angle. Horses showing speed on the grass, going long, turning back to 7 furlongs on the main track. A lot of people think these horses are going to be on the lead. They don't have to. They stalk. You're looking for a little bit of a price in there. And this angle, when it does work, which is not very often, but it does work, is when there's no standout horse in that race.
Right.
And I don't really see one in here where I could say, oh my goodness, there's no way to beat this horse. I'm reaching for the stars with this angle. I think this horse, if handles the return to the main track, can run well. I used the 6 Fastidious Son in second and the 5 Just for Fun. You had those 2 on your ticket too. We just disagreed with the top selection for the 3rd time in a row.
Yeah, I know. And actually, that horse, I was just telling you just off screen or off camera just a minute ago, Excellent Prospect, that was my first alternate in this race. So I can see see where you're going, but I like that pick. And in fact, I think so for the Rainbow Six, I think we're going to have to use several horses.
We're going to have to use all these here, right here, for sure. Because the 2 is, it's 12 to 1 and rightly so. I mean, it's a little bit of an angle. It's not, it's not etched in stone, so we'll see that it works out. Certainly going to go back and look at your number 1 horse, Blackwater Charlie.
On to the 6th race on today's card that kicks off the pick 5. And we do have a jockey change. Number 10, Diamond Jack, will be ridden by Diego Gomez. And it is a 12-5 maiden claiming event, 7 furlongs on the main track. And my top here we got another one. This is great.
I'm loving this today.
I'm either going to have a wonderful or a terrible day, and that is Mitote.
It goes for me too.
Right? Yeah. Now you do. I do have the 12 on my ticket, and then here I was trying to take a chance here. Now, follow my reasoning for a second, okay? So getting blinkers off, we have now a horse that was running 6 furlongs and a couple of forgettable starts. Although if you look at this horse's first couple of starts, her best numbers were on a fast track, no blinkers. Blinkers come back off. So the last couple of starts, we had the blinkers on, and also I just think that if we get back to that early race, or that early race that was fast track, no blinkers, that was this horse's best figure. And I'm thinking with the blinkers coming off, I'm hoping she's going to run back to that.
And that's a great angle here too, because when you get these $12,500 claimers, there's no, the reason that they're at $12,500, they're not the winning types all the time. So, it's a good angle, and I got to respect it. I did use the 12, and you did too, and that's my money. Ryder stretching out to 7 furlongs, finishing 3rd against a similar competition that was going 3/4 of a mile. I just thought her current form points her out against this caliber of competition. And then just to throw a little cherry on top, ridden by Javier Castellano, who seems to win 2 or 3 races every day, no matter what.
Yeah, and again, I also threw in the number 2, and that's Comaluz, and just has been catching. She's just been drawn wide in all 3 of her career starts, and she was in the 11 hole in her last 2. So I think with a better draw, dropping, cutting back in distance, and several changes in here, actually took some money last time too. It was 10 to 1. So I'm thinking that maybe we'll give this one a shot to hit the board. On to the 7th race again, that's another race that I think that you'll probably have to use a few for that pick 5.
Yeah, I'm thinking you're going to have to find a horse a little later on when we get to the 9th race. I have to have a single in there, and that's a more formful race. So when you're putting these multiple wager tickets, multiple race tickets together, like the Rainbow Six or the pick 5 or the pick 4, I think you got to go deep in these races. Just by the way, we're handicapping. Not that we know anything more than anybody else. It's just that there's so many different ways to go.
Yeah, there are. And we look onto the 7th race today, and it kicks off the late pick 4. Is the second pick 4 of the afternoon. 7.5 furlongs on the turf course. It is a 20,000 claiming event, and my top pick, I went with number. Oh wow! Look, we are not only in agreement; we're perfectly in agreement. So number 9 is Make Your Point from the Phil Serpy barn, and I think this underscores a point here, which is I'm going to make my point that this horse stands out.
This horse stands out, and I know you wanted to show this horse a video of this horse's last race. Got a little bit of trouble in that last race.
Sure. Actually, the horse that we wanted to look at in here was a Race and Shine, but Ron, That is a race.
Oh, that's Race and Shine. That's right. My third pick. That's what it is.
Yeah, Race and Shine, the number 3, was actually running as the number 4 that day. And look at this one. Won last time, but if you saw, there was a little bit of a bumping incident early on, kind of knocked her hindquarters out from under her. But she ran a pretty good race, and diminishing 3/4 length margin at the wire, but she got the job done, and it wasn't the cleanest of trips.
No, it wasn't the cleanest of trips. If you watched that in there, she got bounced around a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got the horses mixed up in there. But this is Pat Reynolds. He hasn't started many horses here, but all his horses have run exceptionally well.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get them claimed, he's been doing an excellent job. Very limited sampling, but the Race and Shine, for the trouble it had in that particular race, I got it confused with Make Your Point. He's turned it back to 7.5 furlongs. Had to alter course last time out in the stretch, and finished third behind a repeat winner that we liked. It was called Wine Burglar. That was going a mile into 16. Phil Serpy, Luis Saez, another guy that's riding in great form. So Make Your Point on there. We got the 8 horse in second. I'm going to let you pronounce that because it's French.
Aaron Point.
Aaron Point.
Aaron Point.
And the trouble call horse, the number 3, Race and Shine.
Yeah, and that's definitely a filly that she's bred to run on the grass for George Weaver. George Weaver's also been having a good meet thus far. He hits at about a 23% strike rate, and she's another one that you think is good. She hasn't raced since last April, but I think George does a pretty good job with the horses coming back off the layoff.
Definitely, yeah. And his horses you always got to keep taking a look at.
Yeah, you do have to take a second look at. On to the 8th race on today's card, and it is a starter optional claiming event. A claiming tag, $25,000. It is a mile on the turf course. We do have a couple scratches. Number 8, Petit Lapin, and number 13 is competitive player from the also eligible main track only entrant. I went with, here's another horse, number 2. I'm trying to be sneaky today, throwing in all these horses. And to speak it, we were just talking about George Weaver. Well, here he is. And number 2 is Twist and Bake. Corey Lannery gets aboard. Now, Corey Lannery and George Weaver combine at a 40% win rate, which I just think is outstanding. And I just think that this filly, by Langfuhr, she's better going a route of ground. We have seen her sprint, and we've seen her going past a mile. But her best races have been, she has been showing some early speed. I'm hoping she's going to be showing early speed again here today. And this is going to be a bit of my hunch. She's 5-1 on the morning line, so I'm trying to get away from the favorite in there.
You didn't use the 9, huh?
Nope.
Well, let's show a video of her doing what she likes. A little bit of trouble last time out. That was back on January 23rd. Doing what she likes is the number 4 horse. And you're going to see this horse just nowhere to run early on. Gets, just has to shuffle all the way back. Basically bumps and just keeps getting bopped around in there and comes running pretty good in the stretch. Was the 4 horse. And there she's coming between horses. Never had a clean trip the whole way around and just closes nicely in here. And just fighting right to the wire. You see it there. Finishes, I believe, second in the race. So I put that one right on top. It's finished third in this race. Putting this one right on top. It was your video, yet you didn't use it.
Yeah, I didn't use it. Well, it was an alternate, because actually I thought it was a pretty competitive race. One of the horses I used, we both used the 2 following horses. Number 1, that's Triggerfinger, Mike Maker, and here's one that showed some speed. Actually ran a pretty good race last time, Ron. Just got a little bit tired in the late stages. Look at the fillies she's been running against in her last couple of races. Very competitive fields. It is Mike Maker. And also I used number 3, Navajo Kitten, Bobby DeBona. I'm also wondering or speculating if she might be showing some speed, and this is my big point in here: speed. It seems if it actually develops like we think it might, the horses that have the speed, because it's a little bit unclear where the speed's going to come from.
Yeah, I mean, so it's against the horses that come from off the pace, like the number 9 doing
exactly.
I just thought after performance last time out, boy, Javier Castellano better have a good day, or I'm in big trouble today. I think I picked him 3 times.
If he has a good day, then I'm not going to have a good day. On to the 9th race on the card, a starter optional claiming event with a claiming tag of $25,000. 5 furlongs on the turf course. A couple of scratches, number 8 and number 10. And number 3 will be ridden by Rajiv Marat. And my top pick, I went with number 9. And I'm glad to see that you've included Dedicated to Bob among your picks. And that is the Dedicated to Bob from the Kirk Zadie barn. Edgar Zayas getting aboard. A winner last time, but that was back in December on the 27th, and several things. I like this one a lot, actually. So I find it interesting that you've got him in third, but I can see why you use Mongolian Saturday on top. He seems, at least at first glance, that he's the class in here.
He's my single in the Rainbow Six, so that's Mongolian Saturday. He's back on the turf. I'll tell you why. I think in a perfect spot after facing tougher sprinting on the main track, including that third place finish behind a really nice horse called Speechify. That was in the Grade 3 Mr. Prospector. You look at his previous turf race back on November 6th, produced a dominating 3 3/4 length of victory. So I just thought, that performance, the company this horse has been keeping. We mentioned earlier how tough the early races are. Had to find a single on my ticket for $43, so I went with number 2 Mongolian Saturday. But we did this yesterday, and her horse beat me by a head. So when the singled horse just didn't get there. So, you have to single somewhere, and this is the one where I decided to go.
The one horse that I liked that scratched out of here, and that was I had used, or I had thought maybe Determinato might be in it, because there seems to be a lot of speed.
Right.
Obviously, it's 5 furlongs,
right.
So and on the turf they're going to be gunning. Seems to be a lot of speed. So if there's a closing type in that race. Right. That might come up and pick up the pieces. Right. Who do you think it'll be?
It's hard to say that. I've watched these races run a million times, and a lot of the times, you think that's what's going to happen. It's usually the horses in the first flight that run well in here. It's not. You would think a lot of speed. The close is going to get there. It does happen, but not all the time. I just think you got to go with the classiest horse in there because they have to run the shortest distance, and that's why I went with number 2, a Mongolian Saturday. And it is only Thursday, but Mongolian Saturday is my single.
That's going to be another interesting for us to fight over in the ensuing hours. We go on to the 10th race and the final race on today's card. It is a 20,000 claiming event, 7.5 furlongs on the turf course. Scratch the also eligibles 13 through 16. And my top selection, I went with the number 9, and that's Too Wild for Words. And admittedly here, Ron, I think the horse to beat is hard enough. He's a classy 5-year-old horse, and he also has shown that he's got ability. He's actually a stakes winner up at Monmouth. He's a graded stakes winner at Monmouth Park. That's hard enough. I went with Too Wild for Words. I was trying to get some value here. I think his numbers stack up in this particular event. He had a couple of victories. One at the most recently back in December, he won here at Gulfstream, and also last time he was 4th. But I think that he's got the numbers to really stack up in this race. But let's take a look at Hard Enough in his last race. And Ron, he was 4th in that last time out, but he's been generally running against some decent company.
You just see him here. He just doesn't have much running room in here. Now watch, he's making his move on the inside here. He's the number 5. You'll see this right now, and all of a sudden, there's nowhere to go.
Yep,
so he just the door closes on him right about here and everything like that. You see, you had to steady him right there. You had to get him out. He was trying his best. I don't know if he would have gotten through either one, but I just thought after the performance, it looked like the one to beat in there. He was only beaten 2 lengths. It was a mile in the 16th, turning back to 7.5 furlongs today. You got him on your ticket in second. I'm going to go back and look at your 9 horse because that's the kind of horse you want, especially in the super high 5 that we have in the last race. I also used the 10 Overton Square, turning back in distance, set the pace last time out, got caught late when beaten 3/4 of length against Similar, going a mile in the 16th. The trainer was Bobby DeBona. Gabriel Sayers returning. This is the speedy son of Congrats. I will guarantee you this horse will be in the first flight.
I agree. Listen to that. You're like spot on today. Ronnie is very, very behind. He's very focused and very definite in your selections here today. And I thought Lawyer Jim might be a good one to throw in there too, because I think he has a favorable style, a closing style, because it does seem like there's a good amount of speed in there, and then maybe he'll be able to come up and get a piece of it late. But that's it for our 10 race card, Ron, and we do have a carryover in the 20-cent Rainbow Six.
Yeah, it's almost $70,000, so that should be fun. It starts in race number 5 with a 10 race card. We mentioned we have the super high 5. We got a great weekend coming up. We got the Hurricane Birdie on Saturday, but we got a lot more racing to talk about yet today and tomorrow. Should be a beautiful day, and the weather is just spectacular here.
It is going to be a beautiful day, and Ron and I will be slugging it out all afternoon with our picks. We're completely on different pages, or almost. So guys, stick around and take a look and see who turns out on top.
There's a new day dawning in Florida. Never before has a Breeders' Cup Classic winner retired to stud in the Sunshine State. Until now.
Fort Larned looks deep. Fort Larned has won it.
Adena Springs presents 3-time Grade 1 winner and earner of over $4 million, Fort Larned. New to Adena Springs South.